Hi everybody, how you doing? Hope that you're great today. This is a Black Lives Matter banner that I made for a protest in my town last weekend, the 6th of June. And I'd been sent this message via WhatsApp. It was a flyer advertising this protest. And it'd been on my phone for a day or so, and I hadn't read the message. So when I saw it, which was round about, it was the 3rd or 4th of June, I quickly started just sharing it with other people. And I'd sent out this flyer 5-6 times maybe. And I realised it said the 6th day, the 6th of June. That's how it's worded on the flyer, the 6th of June. And I said to myself, well, okay, there's 2 6s there because June is the 6th month. Let me see if there's another 6. And then I realised it was worded to wear a mask, gloves, and stay 6 feet apart. And wearing mask and gloves in public is not UK advice guidelines, so I don't see why they put that on there. And then I realised it said 6 foot apart. And here in the UK, most of the signs when you go out in public to, say, the mall or wherever, public places, it says 2 meters. It's not worded like 6 foot apart. So I said to myself, I'd looked for a 3rd 6 on the flyer, and I found a 3rd 6, and it told me that there was a satanic influence going on with these protests. And then I looked at the imagery of this fist, this black fist. It resembles very much the fist used in the Black Panther movement, but it is slightly different. And I had a good look at it, and I noticed that it's very much shaped like a pyramid. And I noticed that the thumb, to me, looked like a serpent. And on the flyer on my phone, it was like, how can I describe it? It wasn't a solid black colour. They were like, it was as if the image had been photocopied and these white areas had made patterns on the image, like an eye on the thumb, a serpent's eye and a forked tongue. But to me, that wasn't coincidence. I mean, I looked at it and I just saw a serpent. And the more I looked at it, I thought, well, actually, there's 3 serpents in this image. There's a thumb area, which is clearly a snake. And then there's this area here, which is a snake's head with an open mouth. And there's this here, that is that represents a snake head, a coiled serpent. So there's a triad of serpents within that image, within that circle. And to me, I mean, it just spelled out to me that these George Floyd protests are part of the satanic agenda of the elite to bring in their new world order. And it really is basically a display of their power. I believe it to be a display of the power of the dark side. I believe that these Satanists have shown their power in that they've shut down the whole world. They've ended that system that we knew until 2019. That system is over now. When they are ready to shut it down, they've done so. And the streets were emptied all around the world. And now with these protests, they've brought people back out onto the streets. Just like that. I mean, all these protests going on around the world, I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? It's not normal. It's basically being orchestrated by the elite to carry out their New World Order agenda. I don't know exactly what they plan to achieve by it. I mean, cause more division amongst people, to implement martial law if things get out of hand. Certainly seen in America that they've used people to infiltrate these protests and start rioting and looting and stuff like that. I know in the UK there hasn't been so much rioting and looting. There's been some scuffles with the police, and the Winston Churchill monument in London was sprayed with some writing and stuff. But I mean, it wasn't permanently like defaced. There was a statue of a slave owner, Colston, I think his name was. I don't even know the man, but they ripped that down in Bristol and flung it into the river. So yeah, there's stuff going on here, and it will be a source of division amongst people. There will be members of the public who support what's happening, and there will be other people who are upset by it and will oppose it. So it's causing divisions, and also I feel that they will use, or possibly use, as they've done in America, these crowds to implement track and trace. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the whole thing is distracting from what's truly important. And that is the end of society as we know it, the taking away of our everyday civil liberties, and just being controlled in every avenue of life. I mean, in the UK now, from the 15th, if you use public transport, it's mandatory to wear a mask. And my local mall shopping centre, they've got arrows. There's a one-way system. You have to walk down one side of the shopping centre and back up the other side. You can cut across. There's certain areas, obviously, where you can cut across, but it's a one-way traffic situation. And on the entrance to the shopping centre as well, they've got this traffic light system going. If it's red, I guess you have to queue outside, and if it's amber, I don't know, whatever. I can't remember what they said amber was. And if it's green, then you can walk in and out of the doors as will, at will. But basically, yeah, I just wanted to share this with you today, that I went to this Black Lives Matter protest on Saturday in my hometown. I didn't go to support the protest. I went to speak to people at the protest to try and wake them up to the fact that this is, that they're being used, basically. They're being used to detract from what's really going on in the world. As if these protests will actually make a difference to black people. They've never made a difference before. Why will they make a difference now? It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking again about this whole situation with the elite, the puppet masters behind world governments. And I've had this feeling that there's something going on with the Chinese. This is a joint partnership between Satanists in the West and Satanists in China. Are the triads occultists? I don't know anything about Chinese triads, but I got a triad of snakes in this image, and I wondered if that was trying to tell me something. And we know from the Western world that 666 is easily identifiable as the mark of the dark side, Satan, the devil. So yeah, I just I just felt that this flyer spoke to me. Originally, I sent it out for people to support the protest, but within a matter of minutes of looking at it repeatedly, something just made me stop and take a closer look. And I just got all this feedback from one little flyer. I mean, it just confirms to me that it's from Satan, the devil. I could talk a little bit more about that image as well, because it represents a pyramid. But here, this reminded me of the inside of a pyramid, like how they had burial chambers. They had these tunnels that went to a burial place. Okay, it wasn't necessarily in a pyramid shape, but that's what it reminded me of. And I don't know if that symbolically means something about how the death of the system, how they want to depopulate the world, 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart from life, basically, 6 feet under. Anyway, that's my thoughts for today. Take care, guys. Bye for now.